We have 17 zones. Zone 1 comprises of Kano and Jigawa. The headquarters of that zone is in Kano. The AIG is resident in Kano, is in charge of that zone. Zone 2, Lagos and Ogun, headed by an AIG. The headquarters of Zone 2 is in Lagos. So the AIG resides in Lagos. Zone 3 is Taraba and Adamawa. The headquarters of Zone 3 is in Yola. So if you have any problem with the Commissioner of Police of Adamawa or Commissioner of Police of Taraba, you can easily access the AIG in charge of that zone and complain to him. That is the AIG in charge of Zone 3. Zone 4 comprises of Benue, Nasarawa, and Plateau. They have 3 states headed by an AIG. The headquarters of that Zone 4 is in Makoti. Zone 5 comprises of Delta and Edo. The headquarters of that Zone 5 is in Benin. The AIG resides in Benin. If you have a problem, you contact the AIG. He supervises Edo and Delta State. Zone 6 comprises of Akwa Ibom and Cross River. The headquarters is in Calabar, that is the capital of Cross River. The AIG resides in Calabar. Zone 7 is Abuja here and Niger. The headquarters of Zone 7 is in Abuja, headed by an AIG. Zone 8, Kwara and Kogi. The headquarters of Zone 8 is in Lokoja, headed by an AIG. Zone 9 comprises of Abia, Imo, and Ebonyi. The headquarters in Zone 9 is Umuahia, headed by an AIG. He supervises 3 states. Initially, Ebonyi was in Zone 13, but of recent, I think there was a problem there. They removed that state command to shift it under Zone 9, Umuahia. Zone 10 is Sokoto, headquarters in Sokoto, Sokoto State, Zamfara State, and Kebbi State, 3 states. AIG is in charge of 3 states in that zone. If you have any complaint, anything to do with the Commissioner of Police, please contact the AIG there. He resides in Sokoto. Zone 11 is Oyo and Oshun. The headquarters is in Oshobo, that is Oshun State Capital. The AIG resides in Oshobo. Zone 12 is Bauchi and Gombe State. Headquarters in Bauchi, the AIG resides in Bauchi. Zone 13 is Enugu and Anambra. Headquarters in Anambra at Dunokopia, that is Oka. The AIG resides there. Zone 14 is Kaduna and Katsina State. The AIG resides in Katsina, headquarters is in Katsina. Kaduna and Katsina, these are Zone 14. Zone 15 is Yobe and Borno State. The headquarters is in Maiduguri. Then Zone 16 is Yenogua, that is Bayelsa and River State. So these are the 17 zones of the police. Once you have any problem with the Commissioner of Police, maybe during campaigns or during the election process, you can easily contact the AIG. It's not easy to have access to the IG directly because of this program and other commitment. So once you have a problem, please contact the AIG. Once you realize that you have a threat and you have no access to go around, please meet the Commissioner of Police in charge of that state. They have been directed and they have been warned to provide security to all the aspirants. No matter where they are going, they will attach police officers to you. You will move and conduct your campaign freely and come back.
In spite of our challenges in election, there have been conscious efforts in the last 2 decades to improve the institutional framework for election management. This includes a plethora of reforms aimed at addressing identified weaknesses in the Nigerian electoral framework and ensuring that the primary body charged with election management, INEC, is administratively and legally empowered to deliver its mandate. The Electoral Act has been severally amended The latest being the inclusion of the electronic reporting of results and the use of the biometric voters accreditation system, BVAS, in the status quo. The investment in the democratic structure produced a remarkable outcome in 2015 as an incumbent government was defeated by the opposition for the first time in Nigeria's history. It is hoped that the nation will build on this experience. What is our strategy? At the heart of the EFCC strategy to curb inducement of voters is interagency collaboration and information sharing. The EFCC is a key member of the law, INEC and law enforcement agencies, just as the Inspector General of Police has just told us, which meets regularly to review preparation for elections and determine measures to deter threats to election security and integrity.
It is time for us to ask those who want our votes to tell us what they will do. Prince Malik Ado Ibrahim. Thank you so much. And beside him is the candidate for Action Alliance, Dr. Hamza Al-Mustafa. Thank you so much. The candidate for the National Rescue Movement is Reverend Ambassador Felix Johnson Sakwe. Thank you so much. And the Action People's Party is Mr. Charles Inam. Thank you so much.
And security by itself is a progeny of economic action. Recently, we have the statistics that says that we have about 133 million Nigerians live below poverty line. No nation of such statistics can have security or have peace. So our first target and our first thing we'll be doing as a government is to tackle economy, to ensure that Nigeria, especially the youth, I'm a youth, to ensure that we ensure that the youth have something at hand. It's very key for us to create jobs for Nigeria. It's very key for us to ensure that those who man security are properly taken care of motivation. It's very key that we invest massively in technology. A nation that still fights security with human intelligence can go nowhere. The world has adopted international best practice for fighting security. We talk about the space and satellite, imputing, curbing intelligence before crime happens. Crime do not happen by itself. It only happens when two things happen. One, the desire to commit crime and the opportunity to commit crime.
You know, we talk about security every day. Everyone in Nigeria is their own country. You provide your own security at your door. You provide your own security at home. It's not our job. The first and principal job of any government is to provide security for its citizens. And we have to find a way. It's not an easy task. We have men and women that put their lives in front of speeding bullets coming at us. Crime is a necessity for a lot of people. As my colleague sitting here has just said, if you don't have jobs, you're going to have to find the next best thing to feed your family. It almost becomes a necessity. Criminality through kidnapping or cattle rustling is criminality that is based on need to feed, and that feeding usually is to your family. So we have to change that. The economy is a principal thing we must take advantage of, because we have a country that actually has the basics that are needed to fundamentally change where we're going. Our direction is bad. We are about to fail, and we need minds that will change that. So security definitely has to be in the forefront of everything we do. Part of my manifesto is to change that by creating the kind of inclusivity and inter-service connectivity that's necessary. I believe we have some gaps. I believe that from the fundamental stage of civil engagement with law enforcement, the police is there.
The business before us, the country before us, at this point in time in our history, realistically speaking, does not call for jokes. We have to do it with all we have. We have to do it with our lives if we are worth being called leaders or parents. Here in search of finding solution for Nigeria. If you aspire to be a leader in this country, you must have taken the pains of evaluating Nigeria true to itself. The state of Nigeria today, from the point of view of security, is a very, very sad deduction, and we should learn to tell ourselves the truth. Rhetorics, eye service, in itself is obstacle and is unacceptable. Yesterday's approaches to the management of this country, from the slide down the slope, this country is moving very fast, is disturbing. That is to say, we have evaluated the threat and know where this country is. And to any leadership that aspires to be, should not talk about the ease of doing business, should be talking about the cost and how. This should be your guiding factor. When you talk about security, and you give me 5 minutes to evaluate it, that is a dream and that is unrealistic. But all I can tell you in 2 sentences is to say that every single thing about our security, active or passive, military, police, paramilitary, intelligence community, requires total review, total overhaul, new doctrine, should be done fearlessly with the love of this country. Some decisions that may be taken may be very painful, but this is the only country we have, and we will get that done. We have a decade to get that done.
There is no doubt that today, whether we believe it or not, Nigeria is at war. Nigeria is fighting a battle that is unusual. And now if we begin to talk about insecurity, there are few reasons why we can have insecurity in a nation or a country like Nigeria. Number one, maybe there are some individuals who actually want the government to fail. So they will do everything they can so that in the end, they will say the president has failed, the police has failed, and all the militaries, they've all failed. Well, there are a few things I believe we can do. Number one is to identify the source of the problem. Now, you can't go to a doctor and doctor will begin to treat you blindly without discovering what is the problem before the treatment. So we need to understand how it all started. Where are we now and where are we going next? That is very, very essential. And now, like I was giving about 5 minutes, there are 2 things I need to explain here. If we really want to fight insecurity in Nigeria, there are a few things I believe we need to put into consideration. Number one, I think it is high time to recognize our traditional rulers beyond the way they are being recognized today. Why? Because our elders, our obas, our aces, and all of them, they are the ones in charge of their community. And they have control all over the youths in their community. And now, so there is nothing that will ever happen in the community without the knowledge of the emirs or the obas. But it's quite unfortunate that today, with all due respect and with all humility, I'm to say this, that it appears the government pays less attention to our traditional rulers. So they allow us, or they allow the police to do whatever they can without their support. 2, if you do your research, you understand that Nigerian police is one of the most intelligent police in the whole world. One among them. And I think, in my own opinion, as the president of Nigeria, we need more police officers. And not even only that, we need something that we'll call a forestry police. What am I saying? We can have all the retired police, all the retired military, the intelligence is there, the know-how is there, employ them again and have them to police our bush, our desert. And so that if terrorists are coming, the first thing they will need to do is to supervise. They want to spy, to make sure that whenever they kidnap or they kill anybody, that's the way out. But once we have ex-police, retired, bring them back on board and have them in our forest, they can do a whole lot to stop them from coming to our territory and do whatever they want. Lastly, because of the time given to me, it is quite unfortunate that we claim to be fighting terrorism today in Nigeria without us even having a satellite. And now there are many ways by which we can fight terrorism. Once we have a satellite And we know that something we have drones that doesn't need to enter into the bush to go and be fighting the terrorists there. With a satellite and drones, a lot can be done.